All right, well, after much trials, I finally had some success. So, where did I leave off? I proceeded to try to get that guy drilled out, and that broke most of my drill bits. Then I got this guy drilled out, that broke the rest of my drill bits. But so I found another set of metal and wood drill bits. They did nothing. Absolutely useless. Yeah. So I did some scrounging and I found these random things that I probably inherited. These are Triumph, Twist Drill, Cobalt Steel, Jobber Length. I don't know what that means. Bronze Oxide, Cobalt Steel, 7/64. So these things, I mean, it just ate right through it. It was amazing. All these other drill bits do nothing, and this one just. So I got a pilot hole drilled with this size, and then I was finally able to convince my other drill bits from several different. None of those didn't work at all, but my other older sets that are going dull, I finally convinced them to drill up a few sizes, and I was able to get that just about perfect. This one I'm going to have to thread 5/16 something. With that out of the way, the mower deck is bare. It has no other parts to detach. So now I can start peeling the paint off and getting rid of all this corrosion and grime and stuff, clean it up. Some of it's still stuck on there. Oh, I don't know if I shared this, but so I've had the grass chute that goes into the bag for that's what this came with, and I found on eBay a discontinued chute or grass ejection cover eliminator, and yeah, it fits right on there, right where the old boats used to go. That is much sleeker. I've never used the bag for catching grass. I prefer to leave it on the lawn, so I've got options. The grass catcher, well, the grass catcher chute works fine, but it's bulky and it's always in the way of everything over here, and this is much nicer. All right, just thought I'd share some progress with the lawnmower. I finally got the first pass of wire wheeling done on the bottom of the mower deck. So obviously there's some spots I still need to get with some smaller tools, but yeah, it's actually in pretty good shape, even with all the junk gone. I haven't found much. There's a little bit of missing material right in here. Haven't decided what I'm going to do about that yet. So I did get from about over here to kind of over here-ish. I'm pretty happy with the way the lawnmower blade brake bracket turned out. Pretty happy with all these bits that I've been painting. I mean, look at these springs. I did not expect these springs to turn out so good. These springs go on the brake assembly, and they were really rusty, and I was thinking about really just cleaning them up and putting them back on because I didn't know what else to do. But I did buy, let's see if I can find it. I got me a set of stainless steel pipe cleaners, and they go right in the hand drill, and cleaned it right up on the inside, which is the hard bit, obviously. And yeah, and then I wire wheeled it on the outside, and I soaked it for a couple days in evaporust, and wire wheeled it again, and cleaned it up a couple times with soap and water, painted it, and it turned out really nice. So hopefully this will last another 30 years. So this is the one with the stuck bolt that I had to heat up real hot, and all the grease boiled out of it, turned black, and then when it solidified when it cooled down. So I did take this all the way down to its individual bits in order to make sure all of that hardened grease got out. And of course I broke the grease fitting, but I found for me, probably a lifetime supply of Zerk fittings. These actually have the little spring-loaded check ball in them. The original ones didn't have that. And the original ones were press fit. Didn't realize that either until I was looking at the parts diagram. And so I just drilled the old one out, threaded it, and now we have a new grease fitting. So I just press these guys back in. This will be good to go. I'm not going to paint it. I think I'm going to dig into this transmission. Now, the transmission works all right, but it did get water in it, and I'm a little concerned about that, so I want to open it up and check the innards. I hope I've improved the lighting a little bit too. I moved my overhead light one rafter closer to the wall because I noticed I was casting a lot of shadows. Let's see what we got. So this has grease, not oil. Oh, we've got a little bit of rusty grease. Oh, that doesn't come out because the fork is there. Let's see. That'll come out. So we'll set that there. The output shaft can't come off because these forks are on here. Somewhere to put the grease as we dig it out. Make sure that there's no parts in there, it's just grease. Yep. So much there. It looks like this little plastic bit just pops right off. So, yeah, looks like that's coming right off. All right. All right. So now with that out, we can lift this whole arm assembly out. Okay. And the shifter fork comes right off, and then we have our drive shaft, output shaft, I don't know, some kind of shaft. I'm going to go through a lot of paper towels, aren't I? Nope, I'm going to need something to hold that still. Let's try it. Oh my. Nope, that's not working. Yeah, you can see the grease boiling in there. Probably. Can you see that? That's kind of cool. Oh, it stinks. Okay, well, let's go quench it. Uh-oh, before something breaks. Oh, that still doesn't want to come off. A little dremeling, a little chiseling, and no more stubborn nut. So let's see what else we got. We got a washer. We got half a pulley, and another half a pulley, and a big old spacer, and this guy. Okay, so I can clean this up. Kind of looks like I'm changing a diaper, doesn't it? Fortunately, it doesn't smell like it. Okay, it's been a couple days. I think I have all the transmission parts back in close proximity again. We'll find out. Let's see. I found a couple of generic needle bearing cartridges for the brake assembly, so I didn't have to buy the OEM ones. I went ahead and mixed up a batch of epoxy and sawdust, and this is the result. It's not quite done curing yet. It's still a little soft, but I think it's going to work. It's larger than what I need, but I can trim it down. So just made a little quick and dirty mold. Got a piece to squish it down with, and yeah, out came this. So that might be okay. So I started cleaning this guy, the gear case cover, bottom cover, and noticed it had quite a few little pinholes in it when I was getting the rust off. So I went to look to see if I could replace it. Maybe. I found a place called applianceparts.homedepot.com. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm still not convinced it's a thing. Is that a real website? Anyway, they had one for $27, but they didn't have a picture of it. I don't like buying things online if they don't have pictures of them. So I decided to treat this like the inside of a gas tank. So I got all the loose rust off of it I could, and then I treated it with the Por 15 rust remover acid, and then the Por 15 degreaser. So then I got it all good and dry, and I mixed up some JB Weld and plugged all the little holes in it, and filled in some of the deeper cavities that would become pinholes eventually. Well, it's a day later. Let's see. I treated the inside of the gearbox cover with Por 15 gas tank liner, and that turned out really good. Really happy with that. No more pinholes because of the JB Weld, and then the whole thing is sealed up with Por 15, so I can put grease in there, won't hurt it. The other side I just spray painted. If that comes off, I'll figure something out. I went ahead and put these two things together just to see, because they're different shapes, obviously. So you put them together, and you get this area of the cover, which is not, covered up by the housing, and you get this part of the housing, which is not covered up by the cover, which seems kind of weird, but whatever. So I marked that because I'm going to put a little tiny bit of gasket sealer, or whatever you call that, liquid gasket or whatever, on here, and I wanted to know where I should and shouldn't put gasket materials. So if you look in this spot here, it just barely covers it up. Isn't that weird? You just barely have any coverage right there. So So I'm definitely going to put some stuff there to make sure it's sealed up. It's grease, so it's not like it's going to leak out, but I don't want water getting in again, although I'm sure it came in through here. Oh, the other thing I did is I went ahead and pressed the bearing back in. The other thing is the brake pad. The new brake pad turned out really well. I'm really pretty. Let me show you a close up here. So I cut it down to size and drilled holes, and then I countersunk the holes a little bit to hold some screws so they don't stick out. They did the same thing originally with the rivets. They countersunk the rivets. You can see right there how they countersunk the rivets. So, and the rivets never did come into contact with the blade, or not the blade, the brake drum. But yeah, you can see what's left of the original. Here's the new one. Yeah, this stuff turned out to be really easy to work with. It's just, yeah, the epoxy and sawdust. So anyway, done with that. And this guy now fits on the brake assembly. Couple little screws. I found some lock washers and some nuts. So that's not coming off. A homemade brake pad. Yeah, so the output shaft has been polished and painted, but this part here is what got polished. This is the stuff that's going to be inside the box. Oh, I found my manual. It doesn't have the blow-up diagrams, but it has, you know, some basic stuff like spark plug gap, use 30 weight oil, tighten the nut that holds the blade on to 15 to 27 foot-pounds. It's quite a range, but okay. And all other nuts and screws should be tight. That's it. They just say tight. Okay, well, I had some successes and some delayed successes. So, I found my, I guess you'd call this the cover for the transmission. It goes over the transmission so water doesn't get in. So I don't have to do this again. So that's all cleaned up, ready to go. Happy with that. It was stashed on a shelf somewhere. What else? Oh, I was cleaning up pretty much all the nuts and bolts and things that were left to clean up. And I got down to the last little bolt, and I thought, I'll just clean up the threads on that. Well, look at that. Now I need a new bolt, and I need to drill out yet another bolt. Good times. Well, this is take 2 of trying to put this transmission together, and I'll tell you why later. So that's partstree.com's blow-up diagram of the transmission. The gearbox part of there's more underneath, but I actually flipped it upside down because that's how I'm going to assemble it. So, what have I got? I've got all the parts all cleaned up, ready to go, I hope. I did last time too, and I wasn't ready. Hence, a dry fit is kind of important. Well, this is all cleaned up. I got the bearing reinstalled. Just press fit that back in there. And let's see. So here it is. The that doesn't have the labels on it, but here's our little pinion gear. And I think this is the drive, what they call the drive shaft. I could be wrong on that, but that goes into the bearing. So then on the, oops. So you get to see me install it from the other side too. Okay, so that fits in the bearing. And without dropping it, there is a spacer. And then there's your 2 pulley halves, which when I painted them, I set them on top of each other. Now they're glued together. Fortunately, I put them together on the shaft during the first attempt at the dry fit. Now we also need a washer and a nut. Now I had to destroy the last nut to get it off, so I got a new nut. The threads on the little pinion drive shaft are perfect, so all I had to do is find a nut that fit it, and there you go. Right now we can tighten that, and I was trying to use this to hold the thing still to take the nut off before. It just would not budge. But now there we go. So now we'll just give that a good, there we go. And because it's not crazy frozen, it worked. Alright, so that's all together. Now, let's set this aside for a second. Let's assemble the, I believe it's called the mid shaft. Alright, so we got the mid shaft, the actual mid shaft, and we have this good old whatever it is. And then the gears go on small to large. So we put this one on next, and then we put this one on next. Okay, and then we have a bushing that goes on one end, and we have let's see, a couple of spacers, I think, that go on the other end, I believe. Yeah. So, and then the other bushing. So the little lip on there, that faces inward, and that's your mid shaft assembly right there. That's the one with the gears that are always moving with the shaft. And so whenever the input is moving, all the gears of the mid shaft are moving, and then that pops in there, and you know you got it the right way around if when you turn the pulley, the gears also turn. So, and yeah, those two spacers make sure it lines up just right, and there you go. So now we can set that aside for the moment, work on this guy. So the first thing we'll do is put our thick, there are two bushings. One is thin and one is thick. And you have a thick side of your transmission wall and you have a thin side. So the thin, they're going to correspond to each other. So the thick one goes on with the edge on the inside, and that's going to go on first. Then you got your gear holding thing, and that's going to go on with the teeth facing into the transmission, so that's going to go on next. Then you got a pin that goes in. Now, the original is a roll pin, and my roll pin is like, I don't know, it's all mashed up and weird. So I went looking for roll pins. All I found was a taper pin. So I was able to get a taper pin that goes in like that, and it does go all the way through to the other side. It doesn't poke out the other side, but it does go all the way through. And even without banging on it, it sticks pretty good. So I'm gonna tap that in there, and then I'm gonna cut it off so that it has a nice friction fit right there. Let's give that a few taps. And then in the future, if we have to take that off, hopefully we won't, we can just put a punch on the other end and hit it out. So the pin is in there, this guy's secure. The next thing that'll go on is this shifter sleeve. And so you'll notice there are lots of plastic bit sticking out. In between two of them are a series of indentations. Those correspond to a little tab on these shifter keys. Which tab? The one in the back. So the way it goes on is that these shifter keys will slide in here, and as they're pushed into, as this end is pushed into this gear sleeve, those tabs on the keys will catch on the indentations of the gear sleeve, and that is how you select a gear without going past it. Okay, but then the other thing you need to do is get this selector ring in there. So it's a little fiddly, but you get that in there, and then the ring goes in this big notch on the other side. Both of them do, but from the inside, like that. Okay, and then you line those up with the slots or whatever with the indentations, and there you are. Now, here's the reason that this is take two. There's a clip, a spring clip that holds these, presses these in, so that the tabs actually catch on the indentations. The clip must have been there when I took it apart, but I don't remember seeing it, and I certainly can't find it. So I had to order another one, and that was the end of the last dry fit attempt. So now, thankfully, Parts Tree had one for $1. Took a week to get here, but at least it got here. So these go in. So on the end of the gear selecting teeth, you've got this little area here for some reason. Well, that reason is to retain the spring clip. So get that on there. Oh, that's a good way to stab yourself. There's that one. And so that will hang in there like that. So now this goes on here. You face it with the other end of the keys going this way. But first, don't forget to put the gears on. So there are 3, right? And they go on to this gear sleeve here. And they go on, there's a flat side, and there's a side with kind of a raised boss here. That end goes towards the transmission. Oh, you did it again. I'm going to have to tweak that. Anyway, these go on, and they move freely. So the smallest gear goes on first, then the middle gear, again with the boss facing towards the transmission, and the last is the big gear. And see, those are going to correspond with these gears in here. Oh, let's take that out. But yeah, those are going to correspond with those gears in there, right? And they're going to mesh. They're going to, because I said so, damn it. There we go. They're going to mesh, and so, but the thing is, none of them are selected, right? So as this rotates, okay, the shaft does not rotate. Well, that's where this piece comes in. This piece goes teeth first, and you can see there's a notch on either side of this gear sleeve, and these are going to want to go in there like so. See how they go in there, and then they're going to catch. See, that one's catching the big gear, but the other 2 gears are free to go. And then if you push it in one more, now it has selected the middle gear, the big gear is free, and the small gear is free. One more. You have now selected the small gear, and the other two gears move free. And then if you pull it all the way past, but not all the way out, that's neutral, and all the gears are free. Okay, so there's only a couple pieces left to this shaft, and that is a spacer and the other bushing. Again, the lip goes on the inside, and you set that in there. Ah, not quite, not quite. It's assembled, but you can't put in there quite yet because you have to install first this guy, whatever this is, the shifting fork. I don't know. Let's call it a shifting fork. So this is going to go in with the long piece down like that, and then these two tabs are going to go into this ring here, into that trench, right, like that. Then, and only then, can you put the it's fiddly. Let's select a gear here. That should make it easier, I hope. So then you can put your assembly in here. There we go. All right. Now that you've got that in there, the gears are meshed. Okay, so now there's a little plastic spacer. Goes on the tab here. And then you've got a little sort of end piece that captures the shifting fork and allows it to turn freely inside the transmission. So that's the bottom half of what secures the shifting fork. Okay, at that point you can put your lid on. We can close that. We can put our 6 screws in. I'm not going to do that because this is just a dry fit, so I'll just put a couple of screws in for now so the guts don't all fall off when I turn it over, and finish it up. So this piece goes on the other end of that gear selector fork, which is now protruding from the housing. And at this point, you can select a gear. The belt taut. The whole machine, the whole mechanism pulls back this way, and it tightens up the belt, which I think goes in that direction. Yeah, so you got the bracket goes on. I'm pretty sure it goes on this way. This bracket is for changing, holding the cable that changes the gears, that selects the gears. So that, I'm pretty sure goes on there. If we can find figure out where the screw hole is. But yeah, I'm almost certain that that goes on that way. The cable comes through, hooks onto the little end there, and then you can select it. I got to take this back apart and lubricate it all. But that is the dry assembly of this guy. Okay, I'm going to have to end the video here because it's just getting too long again. So stay tuned for the next exciting chapter. Oh, and thank you for watching.